The Crew Motorfest, a game that I think a lot of people that, was sort of following it, and as days come up, I think a lot of people sort of had this reaction of, holy titty twisters, this is going to be the best, this is going to be better than FH5, FH5 is dead now because of this game, this is going to absolutely blow it out the water, this is going to make Turn 10 and Playground Games have to pull their finger out and actually do something good with Forza Horizon 5. Now that we're at the full game, I can categorically say that yes, that is not true in the slightest. Now, I'm not going to say that this game is terrible, because it's not. But if I was going to sum it up in one sentence for you, it is a good racing game, not for everyone. Let me explain why. Now, it is an open world racing game. There's a shocker. The previous two were. However, there are certain nuances that I think the best term to put it is going to be controversial. So, let's get talking about it. One of the big problems for certain people, I'm not including myself in this because I personally didn't care, is all of the events you have to drive to until you have completed 10 playlists. When you have completed 10 playlists, that is when you can fast travel to the events. Until then, you have to drive there. Now, for me, it's probably easy for me to say I don't care, because I've played a lot of the Crew too. So I already had well over half the car list already at my disposal. So, I could just bring, I fancy driving a Acura GT3 car. Oh, I've got it. Yeah, that's fine by me. I don't need to work up the money to buy a lot of these cars again. One thing I will say though is I don't think money in this game is that tricky to get. I know it's probably not going to be as easy as the Crew 2 once you start getting to the late game stuff, but honestly, I don't think it's that bad. I really don't think it's that bad. I think it's probably the other way around. Once you start getting to the late game stuff, that's probably when it starts slowing down, probably starts becoming a bit trickier to actually get money. Let's talk about the car list though, considering we're here. Now, admittedly, we have fallen into the issue of Fiat. There's no Abarth, there's no Alfa Romeo, there's no Fiat again, and no Lancia. It's the end of the world. We've got this problem again. It's bloody typical. However, we may have those omissions, but the additions we've got, some of them are fantastic. I'm not a big Bugatti fan, but they've got this, the Veyron Barchetta. I don't know another game about it's probably a Top Drives, but that doesn't really count as a car game. Probably Asphalt has it, I don't know. But this game has it, and it's fantastic. The fact that this has got the Bugatti Barchetta, some of the additions are incredible. Obviously, you've got the typical stuff like the new Ford Bronco, as to be expected. We've got the Hummer EV. We've got the new Civic Type R, we've got the classic Honda NSX, a little bit further down here we've got some new Alfa Grand Prix cars, and these little buggy thingies, I don't know how else to describe them, Koenigsegg, we've got all the Koenigsegg, Lamborghini for instance, that's had a good amount of new additions, we've got the Essenza, there's probably a little bit to be expected, but we also got the Revuelto, I think that's how it's pronounced, we've got the Sian, the Terzo Millennio, and a bloody Lamborghini boat. So Lotus, Avaya, it's fantastic. Mercedes got an EQ Silver Avo. The message I think is clear. It's got a lot of the bells and whistles that the Crew 2 had with some very unique cars, and then some. Now, admittedly, not all the cars from the Crew 2 are here that aren't. Before I said before. However, they are going to be added later. I think some of the cars like the Audi RS2 isn't here yet. Some of the Nobles aren't here yet. But I think they're going to be added at a later time. I think they're just reworking the sounds and usual crap like that. You know, we've got here the McLaren Elva, the Senna GTR. Love the Senna GTR. It's just mental. Yeah, the point I think has been made well and proper. It's glorious. It really, really is glorious. And as well, if you like Formula 1, there you are. We've got the RB18. A Renault concept car. Yeah. So there is that. The other thing as well is the customization is just as good as the Crew 2 and a little bit better on top of that. Now, all of the cars, you know, as you can see here, when I put the cars across, I also got all the customization alongside. So, you know, I've got an EB110 with that crazy body kit, the 1.1 with the custom wing, a Gera R with all that stuff on it. Yeah, so, the blah-de-blah-de-blah, you're getting the memo. But there's a little bit more to it, and this is where I'm going to show off the activities a little bit. With these, obviously, when you complete the entire playlist, which have a certain set of cars, you also then get these little challenges. And then when you complete a bunch of them, you get little things. I have a feeling I've already claimed those, and they might make me disconnect, so I'm not going to trust that just yet. Yeah, there's a few bugs here and there. You know, if we look at this, for instance, there you are. You can change the engine sound of your car. So, as you saw there, that Porsche, I can make every single car here have the flat 6 Porsche engine. So, I can make this Bugatti Chiron do that if I wanted. Also, as well, you know, there's the Formula 1 cars. So, you can make every... So, if you want to have a Volkswagen Beetle sound like the Alfa Grand Prix cars, you can. Because why the hell not? That's what I love. That is what I really love. All the vanity stuff as well. All that is back. You know, you can change all the tyres, the tyre smokes, obviously nitrous, if I had any. Oh yeah, I think it's because obviously no exhaust system doesn't have one. Obviously, you know, all the underglows, window tints, the horns, like I said, the audio signatures, different. Obviously, all the little rooftop stuff. I wonder, has this got? Look at that little spotlight. All that is the same liveries, blah blah. All of that fantastic stuff. Now, let's get into the big problem. Obviously, I talked a little bit before about, you know, the fast traveling and things like that. I think this is the main controversial point, is how do you play open world racing games? Are you going to just focus on the events only? That's the important thing. You go event complete. You only want to do the events and then you do the exploration. Or do you drive from event to event, but you do get yourself sidetracked doing a bunch of like the little collectibles that's all over the place? You know, you might have a live reward that's nearby and go, ooh, I'm going to go collect that. You know, a bunch of the challenges required to find little collectibles here in, you know, Honolulu and things like that. So, ooh, you know, there's one there, I'm going to go collect it. And it's en route to the event, so, you know, all fantastic stuff. Because this game really focuses on one play style, and the other play style is kind of just ignored in a way. And that is, the one that's ignored is the people that just want to get through the event and then do the collectibles. Yeah, it does not do that well in the slightest. It really doesn't do that well. So I think that's going to annoy a lot of people. Now, I know what some people are going to say in this, and I think both sides have a valid argument. You know, one side is going to say, well, you're playing an open world racing game and you don't want to explore the map. Then why the hell are you playing an open world racing game? Just go play iRacing, Forza Motorsport, Gran Turismo, etc. Just play them then. And the other side of the coin that makes a very good argument is, well, I want to do all the races because I get money, I get to upgrade the cars, you know, blah de blah. Both sides of the coin is a good argument. Another really controversial bit, I think, is how the events actually work. Now, I don't mean, you know, that they have little... actually, yes, I do in a way. You see here, this here is obviously the playlist. Right? Obviously, I can swap between the modes because I've already completed it, whatever. In the playlist, you can only use the loaned vehicle. You can't bring your own. Even if you have the car, you can't use it. You can only use what's given to you. Now, I know for a fact that is going to annoy a lot of people. And then there's going to be others that it doesn't bother. And that's fine. This is where my controversial argument comes in with Motorfest. There's both sides to everything in this game. You know, there is the sides, like I said, that want to do races only, want to bring their own cars. They don't want to just use the loan vehicles only because, you know, they may not like the Hummer EV, but they have to use it in a race and you know, just stuff like that. And then there's other people that will say, oh, well, you know, thanks to these events, I now may actually have a decision of, oh, I quite liked how this car drove, so I'm actually going to buy it. So it's just, it is what it is, really. It is just going to, it's not going, obviously, I know it is incredibly hard and nigh on impossible to satisfy everyone. It is impossible to satisfy everyone. No matter what decision you make, it is going to annoy someone. But with this, there's no compromise. There's no compromise of, you can have the loan vehicle here, if you want to. However, there is also an option of bringing your own vehicle if you don't want to use this, and that's fine. There's not that option until you have completed the playlist. Or do you own this car? Well, too bad, you're still going to get loan one anyway, and yours might be upgraded. No, it's whatever we decide. Yeah, it focuses, it doesn't bring enough of what I said before. I've forgotten the term for it now. God sake me. I did pass English, honestly. I've managed to immediately forget at the point I just said before. Compromise, that's what I was looking for. Yeah, it's just, it doesn't give players options to play the game how they want. You are locked to one type of playstyle in a way. I mean, you're going to have to suck up with it. But let's now move on. Let's move on to a few things. Let's talk about the main point of racing games. You know, the main issue that needs to be correct. The handling and the physics. Now, the Crew 2's was pretty 50-50. In some places, I don't think it was that bad. In other places, it was pretty pants. In this, I prefer it to the Crew 2 a lot. But in some places, it's still pretty pants. And that's when it comes to the off-roading. Again, the off-roading's just wonky in this. But I feel as well, so is a little bit of the drifting. And how the cars react to certain things. Now, there's a few little bits of advice I want to give, which has worked out for me. That's a terrible corner. That has worked out for me, and it might work out for you. I don't know. Tip number 1, use sport traction control. Don't bother with it off. A lot of the reasons why I say that is off the line you are, in a lot of cars, so hideously slow compared to sport traction control, because it's almost like a launch control in a way. If you are not good with the throttle, you are just going to spin the wheels up massively, and your launch is just going to be so hideously bad. But if you have sport traction control, it sort of kicks in and you get a pretty damn good launch, and it allows for a little bit of tyre slip and things like that. You get the message. Tip number 2 is brake in a straight line majoritively. There are some times where you can brake whilst turning, that's completely fine, but a lot of your braking should be done in a straight line. The reason being is the cars understeer like crap if you try to turn whilst braking. It doesn't work a lot of the time, which is going to definitely annoy a lot of people. Yeah, I haven't asked Smart Livy on this, and what? And tip number 3. I say it's a tip. It's more of a little thing I've picked up. When you are sliding in this game, usually you have this point of no return, where when you hit a certain angle, no matter what you do, you have pretty much span out. Alright, okay, that happens to the best of us, it happens all the time to even some of the more skilled drivers, occasionally they will just make a little bit of that mistake and spin out. It happens. With this, what it feels like is that angle of no return is extremely sharp. It is very, very harsh. You can get a little slide, you go full opposite lock, nah. You will still be sliding, and you have essentially span out. No matter if you go on the throttle, go on the brakes, go off throttle, yeah, you're going to spin out. And it's even more exaggerated when there's a little crest in the way, because your car will snap. That rear end is snapping fast and harshly, and there's almost nothing you can do. And that is a big issue when you're doing the off-roading events, because off-road, funnily enough, isn't as smooth as tarmac, so you are having to be so careful with your steering. It's hilariously awful. Now, let's get on. I'm going to move on. I'm going to go to a different event, and I'm going to talk about another big problem. That other problem is the AIs. Now, I'm not going to say that they are the worst AIs in the world, because they're not. I've seen worse. But they're not good. They are not that good. I didn't pick this car. Damn it! I forgot. One of the big issues that you get with the AIs is they are extremely ignorant and blind. They have no problem having a lot more speed than you and not go for a clean overtake and just ram you up the arse or ram you completely off the corner, off the track, etc. That happens quite often, and it's mildly infuriating. But then it gets worse when you have the clean driving thing, and you might be trying to sit there and do some of the challenges. Now, admittedly, you can just completely bypass this issue by just hanging at the very back. That was my own fault there. I was on a complete wrong line. You can just bypass this issue by just hanging at the back and, just letting the AIs race off. You just run your own little race and nothing's a problem. You can do that and you will get the perfect clean driving. But, that's a bit boring and you just don't find that fun, which is completely fair enough. But with how just crap the AIs drive with you, it's very tempting to just do that. To just say, right, I've had it with these AIs, I'm just going to let them piss off, and I'm just going to get the perfect clean driving bonus that way. The other thing as well, on the difficulties. Now, I'm in this awkward position, right, where difficulty 4 for me is light work. It's a breeze. It's nothing. Difficulty 5 goes from a pretty good challenge to just flat out unfair, because the AIs have basically got they get an artificial speed boost, which is just awful. They don't. I feel like what it is their acceleration is a lot faster than yours at times. They can be a lot better around the corners than yours. This gets even more exemplified when you're using the bikes. I absolutely bloody hated the bike events in this game. I really did. They just seem to be able to tackle things better than you. Their boost I think is more powerful, but I think that's, I think legend points will fix that. It definitely recharges faster, but again, legends points, I'll talk about that bit, I think, in a minute. And yeah, it's just painful on the hardest difficulty. Just, giving them an artificial speed boost rather than just they take faster lines. They are later on the brakes. They are just better through the corners. You know, like, yeah, sure, make them more challenging in terms of with the boost. You know, that might be better with boost management. You know, that might, because boosting in the air is a lot more powerful than boosting on the ground. So, you know, the AIs might have a more boost compared to you when they're in the air, so they get more of an advantage that way. That's fine enough. You know, making the AIs smarter, that's a good challenge. This isn't. Just giving them a ridiculous speed boost, especially when one of them just runs away, like James has here. I couldn't quite beat them. Oh well. Actually, you know what? If I didn't crash that wall like an absolute twat, I actually would have gotten the perfect clean drivers. Yep, that was my own fault. It's just... That's all I can really say about this game. It's just a decision that I don't think... I think it's just going to cause a lot of issues and disagreements more than actually having a good balanced system. I think that's just going to be it. Now, speaking of the events, obviously you saw before, obviously I had the little clean driving challenge, yeah. Also, when I was doing the Alpha Grand Prix races there, I had a tyre wear. Admittedly, it's very exaggerated. It lasts for about 30 seconds, then you need to change your tyres. You know, that does happen, but there's also... We'll go to this one here, why not? What's this? Yeah, why not? We'll just leave it on the playlist. This one here, this is my favourite playlist, the Vintage Garage, for a few reasons. This is where I think this is the most unique type of event. Oh, there we go, my custom Volkswagen's actually arrived. Look at it, it's stupid. Look at the wing. Yeah, this is where I think this is the most unique out of all the challenges. You know, like I said, the pro races, yeah, sure, have the tyre wear, nowhere else does. But this one, as you can see, I've got no map, and the HUD is entirely different, and it does change throughout the decades. The other thing I really like as well is that the music actually changes to fit the time. So I think we're in a 1950s car, so the music will be from the 1950s. And then when you go into 60s, 70s and 80s, the music reflects that as well. I really do like that. Like I said, all these changes are fine, but it's the other things that have changed as well, which is just going to put a sour note on a few people's mouths. It's all I can say really. Like, this game, it's just complicated. It's just complicated. It's controversial in what they've sort of done, and I don't know really how I can sum it up in any other way other than just your enjoyment really revolves around how do you play open world racing games. And I think that's just the big problem. That is what you have to do. You need to have a certain playstyle, in my opinion, to really get the full experience of this game. And that's just... it's not good to have that sort of thing when you're trying to compete with Forza Horizon. You know, that sort of has this compromise of, if you just want to spam events, you could just fast travel, whatever. And if you want to drive around, that option is there. With this, you either drive around or you drive around, especially at the early game. That's it. No ifs, ands or buts. That's what you've got to do. That's what we said. And that is just... not giving player options is just going to annoy a lot of people. But I don't think this game is half-arsed. Let me get that out the way. This definitely is not a game that they just threw out there in hopes to just be you know, in hopes to just get everyone hyped because, you know, this is going to be like a Forza Horizon rival. Sorry, I'm quite itchy. You know, it'll be popular because, oh yeah, it's a Forza Horizon rival, therefore people will play our game and therefore, you know, come up to their conclusions of, is this better than Forza Horizon, yes or no? I think that is, you know, that is not the case. Because a lot of love has been put into this. The map, for instance, I don't think I talked about it just yet. This game is gorgeous. I don't think anyone can deny that this game is absolutely gorgeous. Oh, come on. Beat the AI, beat the AI. We're having a drag race now. Come on. Oh, there's no fuck off. There you go. There's the AI's plot armor, as I call it. Yeah, the map, it's gorgeous. It's a lot of fun to drive around. I don't think it's perfect. I think, sadly, I don't think there's too many sections where you really get to test the car's handling quite as much as you'd hope, in a way. A lot of it is very fast. I mean, you know, I understand that there needs to be places, it's like you can push your hypercars to the 280-mile-an-hour speed limits. That isn't just on motorways and things like that. I think there was a live reward. I saw my radar ping a little bit. I think. I could be wrong. Yep, nope, I was correct. So, you know, I get that. I don't think there's quite as many technical builds as I personally would have liked. It's not the end of the world, to be honest. It really isn't the end of the world. The map, it looks gorgeous. The different areas are quite unique to one another. You know, you've got the more foresty area, jungly foresty area that I've got. You've got the beaches, then you've got the more mountainous range, and obviously you've got the volcano. And obviously the map as well is properly 3D, and it looks spectacular. You know, I love the fact that it's 3D. You probably saw when it was raining, you saw the thunderbolt, the lightning bolt, sorry, actually striking the ground, and yeah, it's an animated map. That's fantastic. But it's just it's a shame. It's just annoying that it just doesn't quite do everything you'd sort of hope for in a racing game. You can see that. Alright, okay, admittedly, that's not where third gear is. You don't pull it down to third for manual and third, and you stop changing gears now. Okay. You can see the animations. Obviously, I'll play a few clips. You know, when you're on the bikes, your character will do a few tricks here and there. The steering wheel, as you are clearly seeing, does more than just a 20-degree rotational lock, which is fantastic. See, you know, drifting there, and the character just let go of the wheel, fed it through and whatnot, etc. You know, and you know, he moves his hand to actually change gear. Not only that, you know, when you cruise around at a low speed enough, he will actually stick his arm out the window to go in a cruising pose. There's just a lot of little details in Motorfest that just adds to the overall experience, and I love it. I really do love it that they are doing different things. They are doing unique things better than Forza Horizon 5, because I really do think it needs to. You know, Forza Horizon 5. Well, Forza Horizon made, I think, for too long. It needed competition, and we've got competition. Like, this competition has a lot of problems. Now, am I going to say that the crew will never improve? Absolutely not. You know, the Crew 2 started out as a pretty lackluster game. Admittedly, you know, it has taken 5 years, but now I think the game's actually pretty damn good. You know, we've got quite a fair amount of interesting playlists to view, you know, a bunch more events to rework some of the handling. I think it's helped out a lot. They've done really good things with the Crew 2, and I hope that they have taken lessons from that and will implement them into Motorfest. To sort of finish off, because I think I pretty much have talked about everything here. some of the things that PvP actually, that I do need to talk about. The PvP in this. Now, I have done the Grand Race. I have done one. Don't worry. I know everyone that was playing the beta pretty much uploaded nothing but the Grand Race, which was I think it got pretty repetitive for a lot of people. Just another video on the Crew Motorfest beta. Oh, I wonder what it is. Is it the Grand Race? What a surprise! It is. I will admit it probably got pretty tedious for a lot of people, but I have done it. It's a good amount of fun. In case you are one of the few people that have never seen the Grand Races, it essentially works where you have different. It's a longer race. I think the one I did was about 12-15 minutes ish, and throughout you actually swap car disciplines. So, for instance, one of which you might start in the hypercar. So, for me, I'd start in this Porsche Carrera, and then sort of halfway down, I would then eventually swap to, let's say, a Street Tier 2 car. And then to finish off, we go in a drift car. So, ETC, you go through different vehicle categories. As I think there's probably some that even go in boats and planes. I'm not too sure on that one, though. Haven't seen it yet. Probably haven't paid attention. But these update every half an hour. So as you can see there, this Grand Race is going to update in about 20 seconds. There's also a Demolition Royale, which is probably a Battle Royale-esque type of thing. Basically, it's a Demolition Derby, I imagine Last Man Standing. I've not done one yet. But, it's actually quite a lot of fun. I admit, it is a lot of fun. So, I like the fact that, the game sort of entices you to do a bit more of the PvP. Talking about this, the main stage, where you get XP for doing different disciplines. So you get XP for single player stuff, multiplayer, and actually exploring the map. It's an incentive to do it. And you get little things. So for instance, you get 5 legend points, which is basically the replacement of icon points. You get a bunch of cash, boosted XP on select cars. I'll talk about that in just a second. And then like a hat and a title. And obviously, when you complete that, you then get the Legend one, where you get other exclusive stuff, so more XP, a neon here, for instance, a car, and a bunch of titles that you probably don't give a crap about. So the boosted XP is a system I really do like, because this game focuses a little bit more on car themes. So for this week, it's sort of... the boosted cars are the ones that are used in the summit. So you've got the DeLorean DMC-12, the Mustang Boss, and one of the Rally Raid Jeep Wranglers. And like I said, you get boosted XP. So no matter what you do, you get the memo. You will obviously level up quicker. Well, level up quicker. And it's a good incentive to actually get you to explore using different cars. Cars you probably would never actually think about using. I'll just abort this. Because not only that, once a new theme comes out, you get a bunch of cars. Well, obviously it's for the summit, but they then get added in the offer, and they will always have the boosted XP. I love that. It gives you a reason to actually use the other cars, rather than just use it for once. That will do. There's a reason to use them more, because you may. For the Street Tier 1, let's say one of the cars are Street Tier 2. You might only use the Mustang Boss or the DMC-12, but if you want to level up quickly, let's say, for instance, it was American Muscle, so, this Mustang, for instance, gave you boosted XP, so you thought, alright, okay, you know what, I will use the Mustang, because I get more XP. It was good. It's a good system to get you to use different cars, and I love it. I really do love it. I don't think I've talked about the car sounds. I probably have, but whatever. They're fantastic. They are so much better than what they were in the Crew 2. Really, really so much better. So, now that I pretty much have talked about everything, now it's time to conclude about Motorfest. What do I think about this game? On a personal note, I really do enjoy it. Yes, it has a lot of things that annoy me. The AIs, the inconsistent physics at times, You know, the handling being a little bit 50-50. You know, the fact that the fast traveling didn't annoy me. The voice acting as well is not great in this game, but it's a racing game. You never really expect good voice acting. You know, so yes, it's got all those things that annoy me, but it has so many things that I enjoy. You know, you've got collectibles all over the shop, which really gives you more of an incentive to explore. Plus, as well, getting XP for actually doing the exploration. You know, helping you get the legends rewards and things like that. There's good reasons to explore. The fact that I actually really do like the map. You know, yes, sure, certain sections are quite wide and it may not be quite as technical as I would have hoped, especially with Test Drive. But, you know, it is what it is. I think it strikes a pretty good balance. I think it's definitely better than the Forza Horizon 4 and 5 maps, definitely. I mean, not quite as good as 2 and 1, but I'm not going to say it's awful. Oh, there's Lamborghini Uruses. Yeah. It's got a lot of annoyances for me, but a lot of fantastic points that I enjoy. So I personally love it. But, is it a good game? And to answer the question, once and for all, is the Crew Motorfest better than Forza Horizon 5? I think my answer is no. I actually think these two are roughly on the same level. The reasons being, as the reasons I stated before. The main killer is I think you need to have a very specific play style to get the most out of this game. That's the sad thing. So, to conclude, so there we have it. There is my review of the Crew Motorfest. It's a complicated one. How much would I recommend you pay for this game? And we'll get that out of the way. The last game I did this for was Need for Speed, and I said it was about half price, 20 quid. This, I would say about £40, whatever that is in your currency. I'm not swapping it over for you. Probably like $2, American dollars, that is. Yeah, I would pay about 40 quid. If you have my playstyle. If you don't, honestly, I would probably just avoid. I would probably wait until this game has had a good share of updates. So there we have it. That is the Crew Motorfest reviewed. I'm curious to hear your opinions on it. I'm very curious to hear. How much of it do you agree with? How much of it do you disagree? Do you agree with my thought process of, you know, this is a controversial game in terms of, you know, this just isn't for everyone? You know, do you think that you need to have a specific play style to enjoy it? Or do you think this is just, no, I am completely, this game is just flat out better than FH5 or flat out worse than FH5? Let me know. I'm more than happy to hear your thoughts on it. But that is it from me. Take care, and ciao for now.